We are live and good to go. I think. Let me make sure. Yeah. All right, perfect. So we are at episode 13 for Honor Bound. I appreciate everybody who is here for stopping by. I know there is a tournament going on. I usually don't try to do this while tournaments are going on. There was just an unfortunate conflict, so I appreciate everybody who is here. Maybe you're watching both. I appreciate that. We were supposed to have Kenzo. He might be along. We have not heard from him, so we are just going to continue with Mully and Havok. I appreciate both of you guys being here, taking time out of your guys' schedule to be here to talk duels. How are you guys doing?
No problem, man. Yeah, I'm good.
Same here, doing good.
Awesome.
Just chilling, man. Chilling.
Yep. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Both of you guys are very influential For Honor content creators. You guys have participated in tournaments in the past. You guys play a lot of duels. You've played Dominion before. Like I've scrimmed with Havok and against Havok with For Honor Trials when that was first a thing. I've played against Mully in both duels and 4v4. So you guys have experience in all, in pretty much all of the modes, but I know duels are one of your guys' main modes that you play and that you create content for. So I wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about how duels basically felt after the CCU changes, both as like from a content creator side and just as a For Honor player side. We'll talk about like the tournaments and how competitive duels feel now as opposed to before CCU, and your guys' opinion on how well duels indicate skill. Because before this was something that people kind of just, if you were good at duels, nobody really cared all that much because it was more whoever had a better reaction time won. And I know not everybody agrees with that. I mean, when I posted on Reddit about this, somebody still said, I think that the first comment was, why is this being discussed? If you're good at ones, it's a better predictor of skill than at fours ever would be. Which I think is an interesting, I don't agree with that, but I think it's an interesting discussion. So Mully, I would like to start with you. How does duels feel after CCU has been implemented?
Yeah, for sure. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you everybody who's here supporting the stream. Sresu doing a lot of behind the scenes work, helping the For Honor community keep on moving forward. I was just telling him before now how I'm happy people like him are, here doing things like this for the community to have like all this put together, because I would never be able to. So thank you for one.
Yeah.
And for two, I mean, getting into like how duels feel post CCU, it's not that they've changed a whole lot, as as opposed to like if there was someone I was fighting pre CCU and post CCU, like everything's different. You know what I mean? But it has changed the pacing a lot, which I really do enjoy. The whole thing with the CCU for me was I was happy that the devs finally seemed like they had a vision for the game in mind. It kind of seemed like for a while there they were just updating and like changing and putting band-aids on everything, but they didn't really have a vision of what they wanted the game to kind of look like. And I was really happy when they said, hey, we want attacks to be good, we want defense to be a thing but not everything, and we want it to be fast-paced, we want the matches to last longer. And so everything they've done since then has been towards that vision, which I'm a huge fan of. How they feel is good. They feel good. I've been happy with CCU. It really has added some sort of extra action into the game, especially in the 1v1 side of things. It's not just whoever swings first loses. So
Yeah.
I really enjoy that aspect of it. So I mean, it's different. It's better, but it's different.
Okay. Better but different. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it as well. I haven't played a lot of matchmaking because I've just been going pretty hard with scrims, but I've noticed that duels do feel different. I mean, I've been playing Berserker in scrims, and I've tried to play him in ones, but I usually play Warden And I've noticed like more attacks are hitting and everything like that when I'm playing Zerk. I do like the direction that duels are going in. What about you, Havok? How do you feel like duels are after the CCU?
Yeah, I'm pretty much same as Mully. Like overall, it's a lot more enjoyable. You know, there is a couple of things that I'm mixed feelings on it. Like I don't know, man. Some days it just feels like it's hard to make reads sometimes because of the update. It feels like your opponents a lot of time are just randomly pressing buttons, and it's like it feels like there's no thought process behind what they're doing. Like, and so they get away with it quite a lot. And if I'm not like on point, then I get kind of fucked. So, but uh, but overall, I do think it's better for the game. It's more healthier, and a good thing about it as well is it's opened up the roster for me personally to play a lot of other characters, which are more fun to play now. Like Raider, for example. I've
Mhm.
been playing a lot of Raider, whereas I would never play him before. Shikoki as well. Obviously, he's very strong now.
Yeah.
So I've been enjoying playing a lot of other characters, and that's obviously very good for content creation. You know, I'm able to do more characters on videos and more content and stuff. But yeah, in terms of like actually playing the game now in Duels, it's mixture for me, but mostly like on the positive side. I do think it's much better now. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, and that makes sense. I kind of have the same experience in the few times that I have played MM if I'm trying to make reads or something like that, and
yeah,
it's kind of difficult because like you said, people are just kind of pushing buttons, or they're I've died to so many things that I feel like I shouldn't because they just make no sense. Like
exactly. Yeah,
realistically
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing this in this scenario. You know, it's really really bad, and I'm just not expecting it, and I just get hit by it. I'm like, wow, is it, am I the problem? Is this person the problem? I don't know. Maybe it's both.
that's
Um,
exactly how I felt. Like I've been killed by some things. I'm like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, I'm sorry,
Uh,
sorry I'm sorry for swearing. I don't know if I'm allowed to or not, but I'm like, why even do that? Like, what the hell? It's like it doesn't
yeah,
make sense with the things that you get. I don't know, man. But yeah,
yeah,
overall, like I said, it's more fun. More attacks land, and that's what it should be. Like when people turtle and stuff, it's just boring in it. But
yeah,
obviously, you do get like the small amount of players that can still fucking block everything and parry most of your shit. Like I
yeah,
was fighting Legion the other day, and no matter what I did, I just could not open him up. He blocked
yeah.
everything, he parried everything. So you've still got that small group of players that can still dominate through reactions alone. So yeah, but overall for the majority, it's much better.
Yeah, Legion is even pre CCU. He is always very difficult to open
Yeah.
up, and he's just started recently playing in the past 2 or 3 weeks, and he's always been a really good player, but has been finicky. If you ever want to improve at duels, he's a great person uh, to play, but
Yeah, definitely.
frustrating. Okay, so I know you mentioned a little bit about Havoc feeling like you can play different characters. You
Mm.
play a lot of Warden. You said you played Raider. Molly, I know you play primarily Highlander. Is there any other character that you feel like you can actually play now, or that you enjoy playing more now that CCU has hit?
Strangely enough, ever since the CCU changes, I've been playing Hito Kiri quite a
Okay.
bit. Yeah, I'm finding some similarities with her lights and Highlanders, obviously, and so it makes it that nice back and forth of going between two characters because I'm a character specialist. That's all. That's just what I do.
Mhm.
And if I play other characters, I tend to mess up because my brain's in one character mode, which
Yeah.
is why I usually just play one character. But Hito Kiri, I put a lot of time into recently, mostly because not only I feel like she feels just a little bit better, especially with the faint believability. All of her nerfs made her so terrible. But
Yeah.
with the
That's
faint
true.
believability, the faster lights, like I feel like I've been able to, bring her out
Mm-hmm.
of her shell. For me, though.
Okay. So it's not necessarily all that character dependent on, if you enjoy duels or that they feel good. You're still you have a bit more character diversity, so it obviously will feel much better to do.
I agree. But one thing I can say about the CCU changes is even though I feel like more characters are more viable now, I also feel like some of the character or like the soul of some of the heroes we've played is kind of gone. You know,
Okay.
I think it hit me harder, especially because Highlander was kind of like this slow, just like doesn't have much health, but he hits like a truck, and so that was
Right.
kind of like his thing. But now, everyone's kind of doing the same damage, everyone's kind of the same speed, and it's just kind of, it lost a little bit of luster in that aspect. Everyone kind of feels similar to a certain extent, you know?
Okay. So character identity kind of feels like
Yeah,
there's less of it.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yes.
true. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that I can definitely see that. And that's interesting that you bring that up. Is in the past, Ubisoft has repeatedly said that we don't want to compromise a character's identity to improve their kit or to make them more competitively viable. Like for example, Lawbringer, um, before CCU, and I mean even kind of now, he was always the defensive person. He turtled a lot. You didn't really attack because you got really high parry punishes, like ridiculously high parry punishes. Hyper armor, he was always just this defensive rock, and they didn't want to change that. And then they go to Orochi, who is supposed to be the 1v1 specialist. He has the fast attacks, he has the quote unquote mix ups. But they didn't want to give him an unblockable or anything like that because that was against character identity. And now I think they've kind of thrown that out the window because, like you said, a lot of these characters do feel pretty close to the same. Orochi now has an unblockable, which is something that they didn't really want to do in the first place, but they did, I assume, to try and make him more viable in ones, which it actually, unfortunately, didn't do. He's pretty much the same, if not worse, because they reduced the speed of some of the character's attacks.
Yep.
Rip all Orochi players. The deflect montages will still be the same, of course, but
Oh, yeah.
but past that, so are there any characters that you guys feel worse after this, that you guys just don't play anymore or just don't have the desire to play anymore?
I mean, for me, obviously, I've been playing Warden most of the time since the game's release. I've barely touched him since the CCU, but I don't know if that's just because of the CCU, but because of the Warmonger as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
after playing the Warmonger, it's like it feels so like weird playing Warden because she can chain all her attacks, for example. Like, whereas like if I'm playing Warden and I'll throw like a heavy and I'm pressing light attacks to go to try and chain into the line, it don't work because he
Right.
doesn't, because they're both very similar. So it's
Yeah.
like I feel like I'm playing like a very weak character, even though
Interesting.
he's still strong, obviously, because of his backstep shoulder bash and his shoulder bash, and But I just feel weird playing him now, so that's why I'm playing loads of different characters.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think, I mean, like I said, I don't really play many other characters, but if I was to point out a character that's just like struggling the most, it's Aramusha.
Yeah.
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 It's just I see Aramushas that have been playing him for 70 reps, and they'll parry a heavy and they'll try to go for a top heavy. Nope, doesn't work. They'll
Right.
parry a light, try to go for a side heavy. Nope, doesn't work. So I've seen a lot of them A, have to change up their complete play style, and B, just not really perform how I'm used to seeing, Aramushas perform. Because like they weren't great, but if there's like an Aramusha specialist, they can put some work in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
I'm not really seeing it much anymore.
Yeah, it's true. And there are, a decent amount of Aramusha specialists, both in the competitive community and, I mean, in the streaming community. Like you have Rex, who has played a lot of Aramusha. Moose Main, he's not as consistent with his streams, but he played a lot of Aramusha as well. And then on the competitive side, you had Scorebrand playing him for a while because of the heavy damage. Alec played him for quite a while as well. But yeah, that's definitely a character that even before the CCU, in terms of duels, was just abysmal, and now he's just even worse after all of the changes that they've made.
Yeah,
It,
Solid Soul as well. I don't know.
oh
I
yeah,
don't know if
sure.
you know him. Like, yeah, formerly known as Anime Expert. He was obviously a Aramushi main, and he's expressed his, you know, his what's the word?
Disdain.
Disdain.
Yeah, yeah. He's not very happy about it. So yeah,
Yeah,
he's definitely
and
been hit hard.
yeah, it's unfortunate because all of these changes seem like they're under the guise of fixing light spam, right? Which
Yeah,
is, in my opinion, problematic to begin with because I didn't really feel like light spam existed in the first place for the majority of players. It was actually very easy to defend against. It was just frustrating because of some characters with other people, but not even at a high level, like the top level, but even below the top level, I would say light spam was just not an issue. And they seem to kind of cater to that, and in an attempt to do that, they've made everything faster, and they've but then some characters they've reduced, the speed of some things, and they fixed stamina, which was nice. I mean, as a berserker player, 12 stamina for just to do a fainted light was a lot. It's
yeah,
obviously a lot better now, but the changes feel like they're at odds with each other. They don't want light spam, but then they make everything um, be sped up and everything. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was this was from like a from a player's perspective, but as a content creators, is it to record dual gameplay, Dominion gameplay, whatever you guys are doing, is it more enjoyable? Do you find it easier to get footage for for YouTube, or like if you're streaming, is it easier for you to make content now in duels as opposed to before?
um, I mean, for me, I don't think that's changed much. However, like it is good that obviously with the CCU has opened up more characters to play. I guess like if you're trying to record one character and you're not really feeling it, you've got you can just go and try some others. Like I don't know, like yeah, before before the update, if I wasn't having a good day on Warden or whatever, didn't really have much else to fall back on. But now you can mix it up a lot more and maybe have some good games on a different character. So I guess there's that. But other than that, nothing not really changed much for me
Okay.
personally.
Yeah. I agree. Not a whole lot has changed. But oh crap. I had something and I just lost it. You know when you just lose your train of thought?
Yeah. I do. I 100% do.
But like as a content creator, the CCU was great because it was a big update. But I feel like just like taking the flip side of what Havok said, even though I completely agree with what he said, there was something. This kind of goes back to the character or like the identity of characters. There was something really special about like doing something outside of the box with a character or against a character. That was like that's really like it hit home with content creation. I don't have an example. I don't like a an attacking conqueror or something like that,
Yeah.
but things like that. And I feel like it doesn't really shine much anymore. I find myself trying to because as a character specialist, I just do Highlander, so my videos are about who I'm playing against, and so I try to like find these clips or these videos or these duels of people behaving in a similar way or like something that stands out that will be enjoyable to watch because if it's not enjoyable to watch, what's the point of putting
Right.
content out, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time, pinpointing it nowadays because it's all it's all starting to kind of mesh together a little bit. It's nice, it's fast, it's the pacing's nice, the attacks are coming out. We're seeing all four light attacks coming from gladiators,
Yeah,
but
it's true.
but I don't know if this is just me or other people who've probably been playing For Honor for a while, but it's getting old fast.
No, I
Getting old
definitely
fast.
understand that. I definitely understand. Like sometimes I'll sit here and I'll think, man, what video do I want to do today? What do I want to record? You know, because you've got to enjoy what you're creating yourself before before you put it out. So yeah, I get that. I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, people typically are able to tell,
Oh
and
yeah.
then the content is just worse because of it.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't posted a video now for maybe 6 days, 6 7 days.
Oof.
You know, and I even I think I tweeted a couple of days ago saying that I was desperately in need of a new game.
I
Mhm.
saw that.
Yeah.
I think everyone just goes through that phase where they just feel burnt out. Maybe I'm definitely feeling it now. But yeah, it does quickly pass. I'll probably be back making videos in the next few days.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
because we
I
got.
definitely agree with Mully though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we got Ubisoft Forward coming, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
they
see.
said
on
they
the
said
11th, right?
The 10th.
The 10th. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, a sneak
Yeah.
peek of the new season.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But we're not getting a new hero this next season, are we? Is it the one after?
With the delays, I have no idea. I don't even know if we're getting 2 more seasons. We might just get 1 more. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I know the original plan was a new hero on the second season and the fourth season.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And obviously we're going into third season now, aren't we? But like we're in September, so I don't know
Right.
what is going on with that.
Yeah, because it got delayed, what, 3 months?
Yeah,
So that's a whole season right there,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure what the plan. Maybe they'll just drop the new hero on us then. I guess
Yep. That's what I'm
possible.
thinking.
Yeah.
We'll
It would
soon find
be.
out.
Yeah, it would be nice to have that just because of that delay. I mean, the Warmonger being released was obviously fine, and a lot of people have found a new home in the character. The feats have been adjusted, I think, for the most part appropriately, so it's actually playable now. But I was very concerned, and to the point where I didn't play matchmaking at all when Warmonger dropped because I would play a couple games and there would be 4 of them, and I'd be as a mid lane character or player before I decided to switch over to Berserker. It was just it was a mess being in mid because I'd get hit by one of them and I'd just die because I'm around all my minions or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So
I didn't even go into fours, man. Stayed well away from that.
yeah, yeah, it's not a bad idea. I feel like it's okay now because it doesn't proc off of minions, but I still think it's annoying to fight 4 of them, even 3 or
Yeah.
2 of them. I really want single pick, to be honest, or just make it a separate queue.
How
I
do you
get
feel
it.
about single pick though? Do you think the community would go mad about that?
Oh, yeah.
Go
I
ahead,
think the
Molly.
majority would, yeah.
Yeah.
They'd go insane. It's not even like an if and or but. Like it just wouldn't work. Didn't they try wait, is Breach single pick now?
I'm not sure.
I'm
I
not
just
sure.
don't play it.
Yeah, I very rarely play.
I don't either, but like
Maybe someone in the chat can say.
right, maybe they know, but they tried to make Breach single pick, I think twice. And like they just got so much pushback for Breach. So I could only imagine what would happen if they tried to do single pick for Dominion. And unless they tried to bring back what was it? Dominion ranked that they had for like a week.
I
don't see that.
be totally fine with that, by the way. I don't know. I think I don't think. I know I do agree with you guys that it probably wouldn't be as well received if the change was what is it? Universal. I think if you had a separate queue for it, or like Jones is saying in chat, maybe you just you queue up for Dominion, but you pick the hero that you want to play before you get in, something like that would be helpful. Or do what Overwatch does. Overwatch has quick play, is just like ranked. It's only single pick, but they have a separate queue for people who want to play don't have character restrictions or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think they're a big fan of splitting the player base up as much, are they?
Yeah,
right now, especially.
Probably not. I realize it's something that will probably absolutely never happen, but I just wish it would because I think I think after people got through the growing pains, I think they would see that it's actually better for the game.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I've had that analogy for a while. Like, For Honor, For Honor's community wouldn't like it, even if it was good for the community, just because they're so used to how things are.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
People are just too scared to change, man.
Well,
Should happen like 3 years ago.
even with the
I
CCU
agree.
changes, there are still people who feel like the game is worse than it was with a completely defensive style, which is kind of crazy to me. I run into people who complain about turtling, but then when you actually attack them, they call you a spammer, like in the same breath.
Oh yeah, you can't win.
Like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
But it's like how long's the game been out for now? Like nearly 4 years.
Yep.
You know, when you've been used to the game for so long, how it's been, you need to give it some more time to adjust and give it a chance. You know, you need time to adapt to the update, and people just are impatient. You know,
Yeah.
they don't want to just give it a chance, and they're just going to complain about it all the time. But yeah.
Some of it stems from people who are really good at reacting and could do well in an environment like that. And now that they have to adjust to a more read-based offense, they're not doing as well. And so
True.
that helps. It's just why I'm always interested in how Silencer does in competitive. Silencer is I think Havok knows, but just for anybody else, and Mully who might not know, Silencer is a one of the top players in the game who has a reaction time of about 130 ms, which is crazy low. Which he's reacting to pretty much everything. Before the CCU, it was very difficult to open him up because he could react to almost every bash. He could react to feints, unblockables, and he was just very difficult to beat even in a 4v4 scenario. Now that everything is more read based, I've been watching how he plays and watching how he does, and he still does fine. But there are definitely players who rely very heavily on their reactions, and I still do that too. I notice when I'm in a tough situation where, like, if I'm playing Zerk, whether it's in ones or in fours, and I'm one-on-one or something like that, I will go back to turtling to try and react to what's happening so I can stay alive, and it just doesn't work anymore. And it's just because it's what I'm used to, and it's a mindset thing that I have to change.
Yeah, and I've noticed as well since the update that's like so many more of my opponents that I'm facing against are option selecting a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are relying on option selects more now because they can't fully react to stuff.
Yep.
So I've definitely seen that more now.
Yeah, it's kind of like a panic button. I don't know what to do here, so I'm going to do this option that beats most other options. And that still happens in competitive. Not necessarily, you don't really see too many zone option selects anymore, but you see a lot of like bash option selects and guard break option select binds as well. I have been guard broken. I've been GB option selected so many times. It's crazy. It gets annoying. It's like, come on, guys. I get it. Just let me push buttons, please. Like if I faint into faint light or faint heavy, I almost always get guard broken if I do faint into heavy or faint into unblockable. As Zerk, because the GB option select just beats it.
That's it. Like going back to what I said before, like when it feels like sometimes people are just pressing buttons randomly. It's like a lot of the times when I'm going for, say, a heavy feint into a guard break, for example, or unblockable into a guard break, I'm just getting lighted out of it a lot because, and obviously that's kind of an option select in it, but to me it feels like people are just randomly pressing shit, and it's working. You know, it's just it's just weird how different it is, but
yeah, absolutely. And people are still getting used to it, even in the competitive community. So I think once we have like a good month or two with everything, even with guard break option select, as frustrating as it is, the more you're used to it, the more you'll be able to counteract it. I mean, guard break option select loses to heavy feint into light, or there are definitely ways to beat it. And if you know that the people you're playing against use it, then you can adjust accordingly. It's just going to take some getting used to, and that's for every game mode. Do you guys play? Probably not. But do you guys play any matchmaking brawls or play brawls all that often?
Yes.
Okay. I know I've seen. I know I've seen Havok do brawls like with other other YouTubers and content creators, but I just don't remember if that was post CCU or not.
Yeah, I tend to only play brawls if I'm playing with a Patreon for a Patreon, for example, from my Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll queue brawls with them, but I don't tend to solo queue brawls now because it does tend to take quite a while to get games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Duels right now is pretty active on the EU side, especially. I'm getting games very very fast, so
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I only brawl when I'm playing with someone.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I was asking is just going to see if you guys had noticed if you feel like brawls are any different or not. Because if you're playing from a competitive standpoint, if you're playing 2v2s, you're watching a stare fest for the most part. If somebody pushes
Yeah.
a button, then that's when everybody else pushes buttons to try and punish whatever is happening, et cetera, et cetera. But in MM brawls, even then, it was still kind of passive. I haven't played them since CCU all that much, so I don't know if people are pushing more buttons or not. If they're actually doing more to actual 2v2s, I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I play brawls whenever I keep running to the same people in duels. That happens sometimes where it's just like
Yeah.
I'm gonna requeue one, I'm gonna requeue two, I'm gonna requeue back to the same one. So
Yeah.
then I'll like switch over to brawls. The queue times are long in NA as well, but I've noticed that a lot of people still don't really do real twos unless it's two people queuing up together. But the ones I have seen have actually been pretty aggro. I feel like you are rewarded more for pressing a button and it landing than you are for, successfully defending against something. And so you see more people just like swinging, and it gets a little crazy, and it's
Yeah.
nice, but
Yeah.
it's not completely different. But people are using more characters with unblockables. It's not just like, oh, this character has a bash and this character has a dodge attack. Brawl team, it's a
Yeah.
little all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that is there anything else that you guys wanted to touch on when it came to like the state of duels post CCU before we move on to the next topic? Or are we good?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna mention console.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I do feel for the console. I understand. I understand their complaints because I do have a PS4. I played a little bit of For Honor on PS4 before the update, just for fun. But I did try it after the update, and it is, in my opinion, it's awful. Like it's horrible. It's not even fun
Wow.
to me, and I uninstalled it straight away. So I'm never going to touch that in its current state. So like, I definitely do feel for the consolians out there with this update. But I have seen some people say that they like it as well, and it's more fun. So again, it's mixed. But
Yeah. And you,
I,
you
I have
you feel
seen,
like it's awful because of the attacks being quicker, or and it's harder to react
yeah,
to or deal with?
well that alongside like obviously the visuals of it, with it being 30 FPS, and
Right.
it's to me console For Honor is just not fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my opinion on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if you played console, Mully?
Yes, I played a little bit of console for the testing grounds, and then like right when CCU dropped. It's nice because of frame advantage,
Mm.
but terrible because of literally everything else.
Yeah,
It's nice to
yeah,
know when you can attack though, but like probably like 5% of the player base understands that if the other person finishes with a light attack, it's your turn to attack. Like
yeah, pretty
no
much.
one no one got that, even though they were trying to, bash it in people's heads. It's just not something that just comes naturally by telling someone, especially a casual player. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I doubt they're having fun over there.
no. Yeah, like I said, I've seen the odd few people saying that they did like it, but definitely the majority um, don't like it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never played on console, but I have heard basically the same thing that Havok is saying is it was going to be very difficult to play console because of how fast everything was going to be with the the frames and the input delay that just comes with playing on console. Most people aren't going to have an optimal setup to where you're going to use a wired controller, so there's less input lag, and you're going to have a TV with game mode, or even with all of that, you're still at a input. There's still an input delay, which makes it frustrating to play. Which is why I've stuck with PC. I had a cousin of mine like 5-6 months ago who knew I played For Honor. He wanted me to show him how to play. I'm like, great, and I went over it as an Xbox, and I'm like, I play on keyboard and mouse. So I don't even have a frame of reference for binds on Xbox. And I'm like, this guy probably thinks I'm trash, or more trash than I am, because I'm getting Shugoki light spammed. I went into a duel as Warden and I just died to Shugoki just pressing loud attack. I couldn't react. I couldn't do anything. And this was before the CCU. I'm like, okay, please watch me play on PC. I promise I'm not that bad. Please don't judge me.
Well, that's it. Like the For Honor console version was kind of read based before the update, wasn't it? So
Yep.
So now it's just literally a guessing game.
Yeah. And what I think is interesting, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that it is read based. And I have this connection, and I'm curious what you guys think. So, for example, Warden's offense was already pretty heavily read based already. If you're just using his bash, right? And for the most part, if you're wanting to be successful with Warden, you're going to use his bash mix up because people have to make a read. So when the CCU dropped, I don't feel like it really helped Warden all that much because, again, even though everything is kind of quicker, it's still read based, so people are used to fighting against how Warden is. And same with Berserker too. Like if you did your lights, delayed your lights properly, they were technically unreactable for the majority of the player base. People like Silencer and Clutch, who have these very low reaction times, are going to be able to react to it, and that's whatever. But again, people are used to that read-based offense. So to me, going over to console, if console was already pretty heavily read-based, it's just not too much in that aspect has really changed. It's kind of how I figured it would go for a console. It's already read-based. All you're doing is you're basically making it to where other characters are going to be even more heavily read-based, or actually be read-based, because they're not as quick.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't seem like it's turned out that way, unfortunately.
It's been mixed reviews as far as I've heard.
Sure. Yeah, I'm honestly not sure what they can do, man. But yeah, it's definitely a PC game for me.
Yeah. All right, so we talked a little about the state of Duels. Everything seems better for the most part for PC. More characters seem to be maybe not necessarily as viable, but more fun to play. Content creation feels good to do. Feels about the same to do. So let's move on to the competitive aspect of Duels. I know you guys don't participate in tournaments all that much. Molly, I know you have participated in duel tournaments in the past, but I think that was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, this was a long time. When Shugoki had crit Demon's Embrace was killing. You were playing Warlord, right?
Yep.
Mainly, or okay.
Warlord.
Yeah, and I know Havok has played in Fours tournaments.
Yeah, the most recent tournament I did was the Fours, but I did used to do 1v1 tournaments in the old days, like the very early days, should I say?
Yeah,
I have actually won one tournament. I think I played Warlord. I'm not sure, but yeah,
there you go.
It was a very long time ago when I did the 1v1 tournaments.
Okay. So do you guys? I know since it has been a while since you've played in competitive tournaments, do you feel like duels are more sweaty now after the CCU? Do they feel more competitive when you play them in matchmaking?
I'll be honest, it feels the exact opposite. I feel like people are just throwing stuff out just to see what works.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a mixture of people maybe not caring or just trying to try out new things. But I really just feel like people are just swinging. A good example, I play Plasma the Toxic. I don't know if you guys know him. Uh, I'm pretty sure he's just like a matchmaking guy. But he used to play Lawbringer all the time. But after the CCU, he's been playing Raider. And legit, our entire fights, the entire time, it's just like he'll throw a backlight and then just start heavying with his super armor
Yep.
and just hoping something lands. Yep. Or a hyper armor, yeah. And same with when I run into why do I always forget his name? Who's the other Highlander? Awesome player.
Spider Go.
Yeah,
Spy?
Spy. Yeah, when me and Spy run into each other, it's honestly just like heavies just flying. It's I feel like it's gone the exact opposite. At least in matchmaking, it's gone opposite.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. It's the same as what I was saying before. Like mainly the matchmaking is it's just crazy right now. Everyone's just pressing buttons. But I have done a few ranked games. I haven't touched ranked much this season. You know,
Okay.
I do usually like to do some ranked because it's good content for YouTube. It always gets good views. So I try to get into Grandmaster and do a few of those videos, but I haven't played it much since the update. But I have done a few, and I haven't really seen any. I haven't really been in an intense game where it's like you both kind of low health. You stood in front of each other, staring at each other. Trying to think about what's going to happen next. No, it's just like pressing buttons.
Okay.
So I haven't really felt that. I haven't really felt the sweat or any intense, during these duels yet. So
Okay. And do you feel like you're playing against the same type of play style in duels and as opposed to ranked duels, Havok?
yeah, right now, yeah, I don't. Right now, I'm not seeing the difference.
Okay.
Whereas I did before,
Yeah.
before when I was going into ranked and I was up against, like I said, taught mine, for example. Uh, you know, it would be proper intense and sweaty, and you had to have to focus. Whereas now it's just feel a bit more casual going in there.
Okay. Yeah. Do either of you guys think that this is what competitive duels are going to look like moving forward? It's just people pushing a lot of buttons, or do you actually think it is people testing it out and you'll see a level out of playstyle in a month or two?
Honestly, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's such a hard time to get a read on where the community is headed. In my opinion, I just feel like there's some people who are just like, I uninstalled day one CCU, and there's some people I love CCU. Some people that still hate duels. Some people who don't go into Dominion anymore, even though that's all they used to play,
Yeah.
and they can't do it because of Warmongers. So it's just it's too hard to predict for me personally.
Yeah, I agree because for me personally, and I think for the majority of people, we're still going through the adapting phase. So I'm not sure if it's going to change once everyone's got used to it for a good month or two. But yeah, like I said before, the people with a good reactions still dominating though. I can definitely feel the difference if I'm playing against Legion and other people. You can really feel that difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's still early days yet.
Okay. Yeah, it is. It is still early. I also think it's part of it might also be a mindset thing because we are so used to playing defensive and we're so used to viewing people who are trying to attack a lot or attack more than they should be as people who are either inexperienced at the game, don't know what they're doing, or they just feel like they can do whatever they want. Maybe it's because they're disrespecting your character pick, or or like whatever it is. Um, I feel like some of that might still be present for some people in the community because people are not used to attacking. People who did attack were dumb because they didn't know. Sforander's a defensive game right now. Stop attacking. You're going to die if you keep attacking me. I'm going to parry you because you keep option selecting. Like I remember so many Havok videos where he's like, "Stop option selecting, man. I'm gonna keep parrying these," and you would almost every single time.
Yeah.
And so we do associate that, I think, a little bit with an experience, and that's going to change because light attacks are hitting more. It's not as big of a deal if you get hit by a Highlander light attack now. I've gotten light spammed by a Highlander, which I would never think a sentence like that would come out of my mouth ever with this game.
Yeah, true.
But so I think that's like part of what Havok was saying is that it's a part of the adaptation period, and it's kind of difficult to tell. I definitely agree. Where people are still developing their play styles, and people are still changing their mindset about the game as well, because it's a lot of it is still the same, but there are some key points that are changing and that are going to be better the more that we play.
Yeah.
So we from matchmaking perspective, Dominion has always pretty much been the mode that everybody plays. It always has high activity, even if the activity isn't high. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that when I sit in queue for 30 minutes and I have to relog twice. But do you think that duels will potentially take over or start to equal out in popularity with Dominion now with these changes?
No, I don't think so. But I think a lot of people are going to start to see why duels might be a little bit more enjoyable. Because I mean, back in the not back in the day, but pre CCU, I would always just do duels because that's what's fun for me. And people are like, why don't you ever do Dominion? What about 4v4? Isn't
Yeah.
4v4 like where all the skill is and stuff like that? But it's just not only is uh duels a little bit more casual, but it could also be just a little bit more hype because the matchmaking is sometimes just a little bit better. uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's also just easier to find games. Like I think if I queue up for a duel game, I might find the same three people over and over again, but I won't be in queue for more than 2 minutes. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if more people start, timing out, because it only goes up to 15 minutes when you queue up for the minion game. If more people start timing out and then they go try out duel and they queue up instantly, you might see more people over there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think the people that preferred the game mode before the update still playing the preferred game mode. I still see the same people all the time. I don't really tend to see anyone new.
Mm-hmm.
But what was I going to say, man? But yeah, for me, 1v1s is more fun than fours. But I feel like 1v1's more enjoyable to watch as well from a viewer standpoint.
Okay.
Just my opinion, but like I just feel like when it's just you and one other guy in front of each other, I don't know. For me, that's just more fun to watch and more intense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's like I only watch I only watch like people that play duels and brawls. Like I watch Kenzo a lot
Mm-hmm.
and Nova King as well. I like watching his videos. It's just more fun to watch for me from my point of view.
And
Okay.
I don't think you're alone with that either. Because I mean, if you just look at the numbers, let's say like YouTube, if a video, with a 4v4, game goes up, I feel like it won't have as many views as like someone doing a duel. If I was to compare like King Misty or
Yeah,
someone else with like 100K views, what was his name? Oh my gosh, I just forgot his name. He quit Lawbringer main.
look.
Splice.
Oh,
No, Splice.
Spice.
Yeah, like Splice doing a 4v4. Because they have both around 100K viewers. You know, one uploading 4v4 and one uploading 1v1. King Misty's viewership would usually be higher, and I feel
Yeah.
like that has something to do with dueling.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, and even when you have these tournaments, for example, I feel like the 1v1 tournaments just get so much more hype than
Mm-hmm.
the fours. From the community, not just from my point of view. I feel like just the majority of people enjoy that more.
Do you think that has to do with the fact that duels are intrinsically easier to understand and identify with than 4v4?
I'm not sure. Maybe from a group of people's point of view. Maybe I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot.
I,
Just lost my train of thought though.
I'd say so. Like,
Yeah.
it's easier to understand duels, and also like I've watched a couple of 4v4 tournaments. Whenever I catch them on, it's really hard to kind of root for somebody. I feel like team names are always changing. I feel like
Yeah.
there's never really a go-to thing when competitive nowadays. It's not even about what you're watching; it's about who you're watching. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
so, if last week
True.
you were watching number one Warlord Squad, and they changed their name to Taco Bell is great. The next thing over, you
Yeah.
you just hop in and you just don't know what's going on. Like, yes, you could do your research, but that's like one more button you got to click, and then you got to
Right.
see who's on whose team and who's on this and what's doing that. And yeah, duels is easier, gameplay wise, but also it's easier just to be like, oh my gosh, Havok's playing against King Misty. Yes,
Yeah.
it's just like
Right.
boom, bam, go. And I feel like if Forest wants to be more, popular with the community, it's not about the gameplay or anything like that. It's about getting people to kind of stick with something
Hmm.
Yeah,
so
I
that
agree.
people see them and say, oh my gosh, this is whatever. Like how Clutch had the SSG, I think is what it was called. It's something to stick behind.
Hmm. So
I feel like
Yeah,
the
I
that's a lot
agree.
better.
narrative of it.
Ex-
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like for example, it's like you know who the best team in NA is. It's like Scorebrand, Ravelord, etc. And you've got the best team in EU, which is Clutch's team. Obviously, when they play together against each other, people are hype and they want to watch that
Right.
because they're like known,
Hmm.
they're
Hmm.
established teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah. And that makes sense. You always want people to be able to root for them. It's like the same. One of the reasons I'm a TSM fan is because when I first started playing League, they were the first team I watched, and I've
Yeah,
just stuck with them over the years because they've been a consistent, in the League scene.
Uh-huh.
And then I branched out into other people in the TSM organization. Like I watch Crip almost every single day, because I enjoy Battlegrounds Hearthstone. I enjoy how he is as a streamer, and all of that kind of started because TSM has been this established organization in the esports scene. So it makes sense to me that if there aren't these established teams or as many established teams in the 4v4 scene, that it's difficult to attach to a narrative or attach
mm,
to a player or a team. Whereas in duels, everybody's pretty consistent. Even if they're not necessarily established as a content creator, you have enough duels where you will see that one person continue to do well. Whereas in fours, you're going to have people who are subbing in and out of a 4v4 team if somebody on the team can't make it. So then it can be a little bit more confusing. I also
Hmm.
wonder if it's just difficult to keep up with what is good in fours and what you should be doing from a competitive side of fours, because there is just so much going on. Whereas in duels, it's pretty clear how a character is going to play, what the goal is, and whereas in fours, that's not, to a newer player, that's not, or a person who isn't in the competitive community or watches them, is not as clear.
For sure.
yeah, true.
Okay. So then you guys don't really think that duels are going to really necessarily get beyond or up to the popularity of Dominion. Do you think with these changes that we might actually see more, a possibility of more tournaments for duels?
I hope so. I hope so because this update is what Jules has been crying out for a long time. So I would hope so, and I would definitely enter the tournaments right now in this state as well.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, all you can really do is hope, because I feel like most tournaments put on nowadays are just, community driven tournaments. So
Yeah.
it's like hopefully someone could, see something in it, puts on something, and it performs well. Uh I know I hung up the tournament cape a long time ago, because I mean they got kind of boring. You were seeing the same couple of characters, you were seeing the same couple of people, you were seeing the same sort of play styles, and that was at the same time where people were starting to kind of move towards brawl, and then also deathmatch. I don't know if y'all remember those antiquated days when
Yes.
deathmatch was going to be the next big thing.
Yep. I do.
Uh-huh. But I kind of hung it up back then. But I feel like with this now, if some tournaments popped up, I might join too, honestly, just to enter, help out,
Yeah, see what it's like. I would be very interested to see what a 1v1 tournament would look like now. I feel like there are more competitively viable characters in duels. Um, I think you will see more than just Warden BP. I still think Warden BP will be dominant because the characters are still quite good in duels, and you
Yeah.
obviously want to play the best. If you're in a tournament, you want to play the best characters you can, to
Mhm.
win. But I think you will see a bit more character variety that are actually viable. I mean, in 4v4 tournaments, you'll see picks like you'll see people play Orochi, you'll see people play Shinobi and stuff like that because it's a comfort pick or something. And are these teams going to win? If you're Russian, yeah. I mean, yeah,
Sure.
that happens. Rip to Dugu, who apparently is not even playing Orochi anymore. But when you get to the top teams, like the top two teams, you're going to see pretty much the same four characters. I think with duels, you might still see some of the same characters, but they can be challenged by other viable picks. Like a shaman is still going to be actually a pretty good duel character because the bleed is unreactable from any of the sides. Her flicker bash is gone, so obviously that's a little bit of power away. But still, I think if you're close enough, the bash is still pretty much unreactable. So you could see her in tournaments. She can punish BP bash because her dash attack is quick enough. Obviously, can punish Warden with correct reads. Um, Berserker, you would probably still see as well. Probably not as much, but I would be very interested to see what the dual meta would look like from a competitive standpoint. So we're hopeful for more tournaments for 1v1s. So then I guess the overarching question is, can duels be more competitive than they are now? They don't really. You guys don't feel the sweat nearly as much in matchmaking. It's kind of difficult to tell because there aren't competitive duel tournaments. So from what you guys know and feel from the CCU changes, can duels be more competitive than they were?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can. It's duels have always, been competitive. It's just no one really wanted to acknowledge the competitiveness to them, because all duels ended up being were people abusing something that was strong. As we get to this less of this is strong, and kind of like this overlaying, maybe like a play style or a game plan is strong, I feel like it's just going to be better overall, and it can get to that competitive, aspect, but also be super enjoyable. Because I mean, I feel like it was always competitive, it just wasn't enjoyable, you know.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I feel like if with the CCU especially, dual tournaments can be more enjoyable, which is like the real like
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I feel exactly the same way. Like I said before, I would love to be able to compete in more of these tournaments as well. See how it goes. Be interesting to see, like, as well, all the different characters that you don't normally see in the tournaments as well. Like Silence, for example. Um, be interesting to see him winning on a character that you don't normally see win.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping that someone out there is going to be doing some more dual tournaments. Why don't you do some, Sarasu? Why don't you
I mean,
host some tournament?
I guess I could. I mean, I am part of Slishion Gaming, so I can go
That's
to
what I
them
mean.
and ask them, see if they want
Let's
to
do
just
it.
start to do
Yeah.
duels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the problem is I would also want to participate in tournaments, and I can't participate in a tournament while I'm casting. They don't let me do that, which is a little annoying. I don't
I mean, you can
understand.
just get Verb to cast it, right?
I suppose, yeah, but we could.
If you want to get some hype going, just do an invitational. That'll get some hype going back around duels. Do an invitational with just all like the best duelists you know, or like big YouTubers, and yeah, that'll probably be pretty hype. That's what they do for most stuff, most games.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see it because I would like tournament diversity. We see mainly fours, we'll see some 2v2s, um, but I would like to see duels represented in the tournament scene because when I was playing this game first, I was playing Peacekeeper and I was playing duels, and then I did that for quite a long time, and then I started watching other streamers that would play 4v4s, and that then became interesting, and then I started playing. I played some Warden, and then I started playing, other characters, playing Berserker and everything like that. Got involved in the competitive scene because I liked what I saw in terms of gameplay. I thought it was interesting, and that there was just so much more that I needed to learn. Um, but I think there's going to also be less of a what's the word? Less of a barrier for people to get involved in a dual tournament as opposed to a 4v4 tournament. You only need one person, it's just you. Whereas at fours, you need an entire team, you need to be able to practice, because otherwise, you're just going to get destroyed. And I have heard plenty of people say, yeah, I really want to play fours, but I know I'm going to lose to Clutch or his team, or I'm going to lose to Scorebrand and his team or whatever. I just know I have no chance, so what's the point? I don't think that's necessarily going to be as big of a problem in duels as it would be in, say, fours.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
So
People tend to have more faith in themselves than they do in others. So even if like Scorebrand was in a dual tournament, they'd be like, you know what? I think I could beat him this time.
yeah,
Just like when people take on Ninja Killer or Sonic Fox,
yeah,
I'll
Yeah.
beat him this time. No, you won't. But they at least they want to try.
right, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about in terms of like the competitiveness of duels from your guys' perspective before we move on to the last topic?
Not that I can think of right now, no.
Yeah, no, more solid there.
Okay, so then the last topic that I wanted to talk about was duels and the ability of duels to predict skill, and we've kind of talked about this briefly in the last topic. But before the core combat update, there's a widely held view in the competitive community that playing duels was not a really good predictor of skill, and one of the reasons why there wasn't a lot of duel tournaments or competitive duels was a bit of an oxymoron is because to do well in duels, you had to have good reaction time. And having a good reaction time is not something that you can necessarily train. You can increase your reaction time, but at least from the research that I've done, it's not necessarily in a significant way. So if you go into a duel tournament before the CCU happens and you go up against Silencer, you're losing that 9 out of 10 times. And that's because he just has better reactions than you, and he might have better fundamentals and be better at the game in every other aspect, but a big reason was reaction time. If you didn't have the reaction time to be able to consistently dodge a bash, react to feints, react to unblockables and everything like that were actually reactable, then you just would not do well against people who did have it. So duels were kind of dismissed for that reason. Was that something that you guys also held? Again, I know you guys aren't necessarily big into the competitive scene and play tournaments, but had you heard that before? Is that something that you agreed with or disagreed with?
I heard it all the time, and I agreed with it. Definitely to a certain percentage of agreeing with it, I guess. It's true. Uh, with duels, It's all about reaction time. It's all about knowing what's strong, knowing what not to do, and really just not swinging. And so I mean, I said it myself many a times. It's just there's no such thing as like competitive duels. And I even went as far as to never even making a tier list. People made like tier lists. I was like, you
Yeah.
can't make a tier list for this game because it's just like there that's not the type of game this is.
Yeah.
So I agree. But at the same time, you know when someone's good. And I'll say I'll go 80-20. 20% is like when someone's good. There's people out there who you play against them and you're like, okay, this guy knows what's strong, but he's not just good because he has good reaction times. Like he understands the game, he's got good movement,
Yeah.
his mechanics and things are like top notch, like obviously. So it's like 80-20 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. Like I said before, when I go up against people who I know are really good, you can definitely feel it. Like Legion, for example. Like I know that I'm probably not going to beat this guy. But like I said before as well, majority of the time I'm playing against these people, and I don't know if they're making good reads or if they're just pressing buttons. I don't know. I don't know if this guy is making the read, or I can't tell. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Yeah, so it was a concept that you guys were aware of and you agree with for the most part. So then does that um does that now change post CCU? Maybe not. Does it change a little bit? Does it change a lot? Does it not change at all?
Um I can't it's too early to tell.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So like I said before, it's still early days yet. So honestly, not sure.
hmm And like I don't know if it's just the CCU or, like what Havok was saying, sometimes you're just getting hit by random things. The best example I can say to this is before CCU, if a Highlander backlighted and I was doing a Highlander ditto, the way to beat it was to throw out an offensive heavy. If you throw out a kick, if you throw out a kick grab, if you throw out anything else, you get knocked out of it. But offensive heavy beats it. That's
Yeah.
not the case anymore. And so now I don't know if people are playing well because they understand that backlight beats offensive heavy and kick and everything else, or if they're just backlighting because that's just what Highlanders do. And I don't know when I'll be able to tell
Mhm.
if
Okay.
it's like, are people's skills going up or are skills more, represented here? Or is this just a click fest?
Okay. Yeah, and that's a theme that's been through the entire podcast. We're not 100% sure if I'm losing because people are making good reads, or if they're just pushing a lot of buttons, and because of that, I'm not used to it, so I'm getting hit more and I'm losing. Um, so does it make you guys think or feel like you're just getting it's just more of more spam now than anything else and not measured play? That's kind of what I feel like I'm hearing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I hate to say the word spam because
Right.
I come from. Wait, you say wait?
No, I said right.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
like I understand. Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because I play fighting games. Like that's my thing. And if people are spamming, that's like technically a tactic that can work. It
Yeah.
shouldn't work against you if you're good, but it's a tactic that can work,
Yeah.
especially, at lower level, gameplay. So yes and no, because it's like the spam is there, but maybe that's just like I said, the direction that the devs want the game to go. And I'm halfway on board because I love how, like I said before, they have a clear cut direction that they want the game, to go in. They know what they want the game to look like. I feel like they're with more of these updates, they're starting to lose me a little bit more and more about, what exactly they're going for. So hopefully I hear from the devs soon And as they give us more of an understanding of what the game should look like, I guess, then I can answer these questions, a little bit better for myself. Because then I'll know, okay, this is what they want, so this is what I need to get used to,
Hmm.
type of thing.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's much enough communication going on right now. Obviously we used to have the Warriors Den every week, but now it's a very rare thing, and obviously that's understandable with the whole pandemic and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of times now it just feels like we just don't really know what's happening with the game. Like I said, we're not really getting much communication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's sounding like it's a little bit too early within the CCU to really tell if duels are going to be a better predictor of skill or not. Spam may not necessarily be the right term, but a lot more attacks are landing. So then, if it's too early to tell if duels are a better predictor of skill, is it also too early to tell if the CCU just actually makes everything require less skill to do well?
One more
Mm,
time? Or
yeah,
if you got it, Havoc, you go for it. But I missed the question, like, just barely.
yeah, I did too.
Okay. Well, so I had asked. You
I was
guys
too
have.
busy looking at donuts. Sorry, I really want some donuts right now. All of a sudden, so my bad.
Oh man. Yeah, that does sound good. Um, if it's too early to tell if duels are a better predictor of skill with the CCU changes, and we talked about spam a little bit and how it's not really spam, but more people are pushing more buttons. It can be more difficult to tell what they're doing. Does that then mean that that it's easier to do well in the game, and therefore it doesn't take as much skill because you can just randomly push buttons and get kills? Like basically, are you able to accidentally be good at this game? Like somebody in chat just basically said that you can be accidentally good at this game now, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like when I said before, it feels like people people who I would like literally destroy before the update actually have a lot more success against me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel that 100%.
Mhm.
Okay.
It is quite frustrating a little bit, but at the same time, I'm thinking maybe I just need the time to adapt. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when I get used to things properly, the game that we've known and loved and played for almost 4 years is just different now.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll all fall into place in a month or two. We'll see. But yeah, I definitely feel that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do as well. I do as well.
Yeah. I think I think at where the game is at right now and how everybody is used to the CCU, I agree that people can be accidentally good at the game and that's frustrating. But I think at least my hope is as the game progresses, and people get more and more used to it, that you will go back to you will see more measured play. You will see yourself even out in your skill level to be able to beat the people you're used to playing. Um,
Yeah.
and everything like that. It is interesting because you don't want to be spammed out, but you also are now going to be fighting against people who might have better reads than you do,
Yeah.
and they just couldn't react for garbage. But now they're in this read based offense and they're just able to do a lot better. So I do tend to agree that it's frustratingly difficult to tell if I'm getting beaten by a significantly better player or just even somebody who just read better than I did. Maybe they're not necessarily a better player, they just had better reads than you this game or something
Yeah,
like that.
definitely. I mean, before the update, most of my success in duels, I would say, was from reads, especially in ranked and against better players.
Hmm.
Um, because I don't have the best reactions. So whereas now, it's like I find it so hard to make reads against like Unga Bunga, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel now. Like, it's like, how can I make reads against this guy when he's just fucking mashing shit, and there's no thought process behind what he's doing. So how can I make reads against that?
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think it's all necessarily a bad thing though, because I feel like one
No,
thing
no.
For Honor has been missing for the longest time is, ease of access, you know? Because I mean, I feel like that's what makes a good game easy to pick up, difficult to master. So
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and that's something that I think is prevalent in most fighting games. Like if you're new at Smash and you pick up somebody like I don't know, somebody who pushes attacks pretty quickly or can zone pretty easily, like you pick up Samus or something like that. Or you fight somebody like Samus. I'm guilty of this because I'm terrible at Smash. And like I can't beat Samus players online to save my life because all they do is they push projectiles. And I'm playing Marth, and my range is that of a butter knife, and I can't do anything. And I get mad. I'm like, wow, this game's terrible. This guy's literally just spamming me, and I can't do anything about it. Then you watch people at higher level just absolutely destroy people like this. Like the zoning just doesn't really work if you have good fundamentals. And you look at games like Injustice or Mortal Kombat or something like that. I don't know as much, so please don't crucify me if I get this wrong. But most of the time, when I look at somebody playing and it looks like they're spamming attacks or just throwing out hitboxes to see what works, it doesn't really work. You know, you play against these players who know the frame advantage, know what combos to do and everything like that. You're not going to be able to spam them, but the option is in the game, and it's a hurdle for you to overcome. And I think it's a good maybe milestone is the right word to have, because once you get past the point where you can see people spamming and you know how to combat it and you don't do it yourself to get wins, I feel like that's like a milestone that you can have to say, I've improved as a player because I don't do XYZ and I can defend against XYZ.
oh yeah, for sure. It's like entering the Matrix for the first time
Right.
when everything just clicks.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a fighting game background, don't you, Mully?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I.
I haven't played anything like that since I was a kid, man.
They
Like Tekken and stuff,
yeah, they've changed a lot. It's like fighting games are great, and it's probably why I stick to duels mostly in For Honor. But it's just, well, at least before this year, because I feel like a lot of competitive people have taken a break and they're just kind of chilling. But it's hard nowadays because everybody wants to be the best. It's kind of like hopping on like Fortnite. You don't hop
Yeah.
on Fortnite to have a good time. You know what I mean? You got like you're going in there and you're playing against some cracked 12-year-olds.
Right, yeah. People cranking 90s
you know,
like crazy.
Yeah, and the same thing happens, when you get to that mid-level of fighting games, because you're like, these are people who go to tournaments, they go to like the locals, they go to Evo and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and you're actually going against them. So
Yeah.
I know that's super off topic, but yeah.
Yeah, I bought Tekken 7 a couple of months ago actually because it was on sale on Steam. I literally went into an online game, got my ass blasted by some breakdancing dude, and I just fucking refunded it straight away, man. I knew that shit weren't for me straight away.
Wait,
Yeah.
you ran into an Eddie at lower tiers? Yeah, that was a Smurf.
Yeah, I got absolutely ass blasted, so I just refunded it, man.
Yeah, when I
I'm not gonna do
picked up.
this.
Oh yeah, dude. No, you're right. If you want to get into a game like that, you have to go so hard. When I picked up Tekken to get decent, and I mean, I'm probably at like the 30th percentile.
Yeah.
I had to play like 10 hours a night for a month straight, and then I could make it past like the lowest ranks, and I still hit a brick wall. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I had a similar experience with Soul Calibur 6. I did not play it very much, but Setmix had started playing it, and I was watching him play, and I started watching other players. Like Boom, I watched him quite a bit because I liked playing Yoshimitsu, and he's a pretty big Yoshimitsu player. And then I can't remember his name. He's a Raphael player because I was between the two, between Yoshi and Raph. He's like a dental assistant or a dentist or something. He talks about all that stuff all the time. I can't remember his name, but it was very interesting to me, and so I picked it up and I played it, and I just got absolutely destroyed. And I put like 10, 15 hours into the game, and I couldn't see myself continuing to put the time in that I needed to just to be at a at not even a competitive level, but at a level where I'm not losing 9 out of 10 games. And it just became discouraging. I'm like, this is cool. Like I like. This is forcing me to know my combos, know the other character, have reads and everything, but it's just so much work to just get to a level where you're winning 50% of your games or even 40% of your games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's something that I don't want with For Honor, because I mean we have a decent player base. Norgaz is in chat. I'm sure he has the stats if he wants to give them at hand. But we have quite a bit of people who are playing the game, and I would just like more people to play the game, and so there's not much barrier of entry, because the competitive scene. Everybody memes that the competitive scene is dead, it is dying, but if you look, we've had multiple tournaments canceled for 4v4 this month because not enough players in an A specifically. We just don't have the teams. We just don't have the players. Whether that's because not enough people are signing up, or not enough people are playing, or they don't want to do whatever. There's just not enough people.
Yeah, I would like to see the game go free to play.
Yeah,
definitely, and I feel like there needs to be more like obviously when you come into this game you need to have knowledge of the characters, don't you? I feel like this should be easier for people to find, where to go to properly learn characters and stuff. I think people talked about it before, where like the in-game kind of tutorial kind of stuff wasn't that great, really. So it's kind of hard for people to learn properly the characters and the knowledge that they need to be successful in the game. And early when you first start,
Yeah, I think when the game tutorial tells you that you can heavy feint into a long arm mix up and it land as Lawbringer, I think that's where the problem is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly what I mean.
I think Alernican did an entire YouTube series on this, or maybe they were streams. I don't know. Just some of all of the things that the tutorial was just blatant misinformation, or they were just telling you to do something that just either wasn't guaranteed or was just like bad in general. It's like they weren't updating it. And it's the same with the single player game too, right? If somebody buys this game, single player is a great way for most of these games to get a feel for how the game plays, what buttons to push, like what the play style of a character. But you go into the single player of For Honor and none of the characters are the same and play the same as they do in multiplayer. So it's just a disservice. Like, well, guess I'm going to learn. I'm going to jump into my first duel. And who do I get for my first duel because of matchmaking? Mully. And guess what's going to happen to the new character, to the new guy who's coming in? He's going to get destroyed by Mully's Highlander, and he's going to uninstall the game, just like what happened to Havok. Like,
yeah, sure. Happens. I've run into a few of them.
Yeah, I always feel
I try to be nice.
Right.
I try to be nice too.
Yeah, I that happens in Dominion too. I'm just like, I'm sorry guys, that matchmaking is putting you against, put me in a group with you guys against the second best team in NA right now. Like I face Rawit Stack. I'm like, you're not gonna have a good time, but please don't leave so we don't get a bot.
Yeah, I've had it before. It's like these guys have been like, "Why the fuck am I playing against you, man?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Honestly, I don't know." And he's like, "Fuck you. I hope your mum gets hit by a bus," and then leaves. Like, but you can understand the frustration, like, know, so
yeah, absolutely. And it's a good time too. Like if people are receptive, like there have been times where I've just stayed in the same duel with the person and taught them a couple things about their character.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen very much. It's the same thing, like you said. Why am I here? Hope you die of cancer or something, and then you just leave, or you beat them one time, with them not doing any damage to you, and then they just leave. That happens in ranked. Like people just leave. It's like, dude, you get the worst punishment for leaving in the middle of a game. What do you do?
Well, that's it. They don't know, do they? They don't have a clue.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Okay, so that's everything that I wanted to talk about. Was there anything you guys wanted to add about any of the topics, or just anything in general?
I think we pretty much covered everything, man. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Okay.
But I'm wondering what's next for the game, man. Like, I'm wondering if this next hero is going to drop in this new season. And I'm wondering what they've got in store for us around next year, especially, and stuff like that. Will they be working on a sequel, stuff like that? Not just because I love the game, but like the future of the channel as well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, wondering what's next. We'll see.
For sure. Yeah, I'm just same thing, hoping that the CCU leads to better things. I'm
Mm.
a little, iffy because what did they say about this season? This is our best season to date. Do you guys agree? It's like it's not. I mean,
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, man.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think the game's in a better place, but the best, or to say the game's at a good spot, it's in a better spot for sure.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just think it's maybe too late, but I don't
It
know.
might be. Yeah, that's a good point. It might just be too late. I want
Yeah,
For
because
Honor
when
to
people,
be at a place where I am not waiting for new content to make the game good. I'm
Yes,
wanting For Honor to be at a place where I'm waiting for new content to to make me want to play the game more, and not just I'm clinging to hope that CCU is going to be better. Now I'm clinging to hope that the season with the new character coming out is going to make the game better. Like I'm kind of
yeah,
also getting to the point where I cast For Honor more than, well, not necessarily more than I play it now because I have been playing quite a bit of scrims, but for the most part I probably would not be playing this game hardly at all if I wasn't casting it to keep up with the game, because it's just been so I've been in that state for so long. It's like, maybe this will make the game good. Nope. Okay, maybe this will make the game good. I'm tired of being in that state, in that spot.
yeah,
Hmm. I say that all the time. It's like I'm tired of always waiting for what's next and what's coming soon. TM,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So obviously it wasn't this season. Not saying that this season's bad, but I have high hopes. I always do. I know they're probably like realistically they're probably just in money making mode. They're going to release battle
maybe.
passes. They're going to
Yeah,
release heroes for us to buy. They're going to release little things here and there. And then hopefully we get some balance along the way that's, actually meaningful. But for the most part, it's just we're all here. We're all enjoying, For Honor. And I've, for one, have just started to accept it for what it is. And that's just a game I enjoy playing. But you know.
Yeah.
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 I would like to see them push more for like to just like get more people here, man. Like the game is obviously much different than what it was when it started. It's like when you mention France to someone now, they will be like, oh, that game where the guy won like that
Stole
tournament.
$1 million or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but like when the majority of people like hear For Honor, they think about how the game was at the start, man. You know, so
Yeah.
it's
It's true.
I would like to see them promote the game in its current state on a bigger stage, like when E3 comes up and stuff like that, or like this Ubisoft Forward and shit. So many people are watching that on Twitch and stuff. I would like them to just try and let people know that the game is different now, and show them what it is now. You know what I mean. I would like to see that, but we'll see.
Yeah. Do you guys actually think a For Honor 2 is a better way of going instead of continuing to balance the game?
It's a tough one. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously,
Honestly.
I would love
Oh,
to see it. Yeah, sorry. Obviously, I would love to see another game like channel wise. More years of content
Yeah.
and growth. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the right thing or not right now. I don't know because like they've spent these almost 4 years now, um, learning about this game. Has obviously been the first of its kind in it. It's a unique game. So they're finally getting it right now to some certain extent. So to just like up and leave now onto a different game, I don't know if that's the would be the best thing. I don't know, man. What do you
Yeah.
think, Mully?
tough. I'm with you. I would love to see a For Honor 2. That'd be so hype. Even if it takes like 4 years to make, whatever.
Yeah,
It would, but if I'm being a player first and a content creator second, I feel like they need to get to a point where For Honor doesn't have like as many gripes. And I know no game's
yeah,
perfect. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if we can get to a point to where the first, word out of everybody's mouth when it comes to For Honor balancing, is bad or unbalanced or light spam or something like that. I feel like that would be a good starting point to start thinking about a second game, because then you can just grow from there. But I don't want to get a second game and then just get more of what we've been getting. It'll get better next season. It'll get better next year. It'll get better after this patch. Like,
Yeah.
if there's a second For Honor, I want it to release solid,
Yeah.
That's it, yeah, because they need to obviously can't have another bad launch, so it would have to be spot on.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing a For Honor 2. I think in terms of keeping content fresh, a completely new game would obviously help with that. But I think my problem with that is if the same people are going to be doing it, then we're going to be more than likely running into the same issues we are now.
Yeah.
And whether that's just a lack of listening to feedback from the player base. I'm of the opinion that you should be balancing around the competitive player base and not the casual player base, because that's how you keep the game alive.
Yeah.
I think if that is not as prevalent, if they're going to make a For Honor 2, then it's not going to be any different, and then it would be a waste of time. I would much rather see them put in the work into getting this game to where we all know it could be. I think a lot of us continue to play this game, one, because like Havok said, it's unique. There's not another game out there really that's like this. And it gives that experience, but because we know what this game is capable of being, because we see where it could go and where that uniqueness can take it. But the uniqueness of the game is starting to become not enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so we did get a little off topic. We weren't talking about duels, but that's okay. We, like I said, that's all the topics I wanted to cover. We talked a little bit about duels and everything. We talked about state of the game, For Honor 2. Is there, if you guys have time, if there's like a couple questions in chat that we can answer? If not, I mean, that's totally fine. I know yeah. Havok wants donuts, so I do not want to impede.
Yeah, definitely want donuts.
I doubt anybody has questions for me, but I'm happy to answer it if someone's got something.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, I'm happy to answer any.
If you guys have any questions, that would be a great time to put them in chat. Again, guys, I do apologize. I think Kenzo had a very late night. He did upload a video kind of late last night, so he probably has just slept through. So I know part of this was when I posted on Reddit and on Twitter and everything that I said Kenzo was going to be here. I promise I was not lying to you. We just have been unable to reach him. But I appreciate you guys being here despite that. Jones wants to know what your favorite color is. Blue. Nice.
Blue.
Nice. Do y'all ever feel like bash-based offense is far superior to attack-based offense?
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I fucking hate bash. Guaranteeing lights. I hate it. But yeah, that's just me. I have boomer reactions, so when I go up against a fucking a good BP, I just don't enjoy the game.
Okay.
My offense and like what I enjoy is literally high risk, high reward. So I don't mind bash based offense, but if I'm getting a lot out of it, I want to be hurt like crazy if someone, reacts to it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So give and take there.
Yeah.
Okay. Havok, do you think if you got hit with a bash that it should be a mix up?
Yeah, I feel like if you get hit with the bash, you should have to like guess the direction, kind of. Maybe, I don't know. Damn, I think True Talent said that once actually. Shit, yeah, I'm not sure.
No,
but yeah.
What do you feel? How do you feel about 50-50s, Havok? What do you think? Should they go or?
They should go. Yeah, they should go. I don't know, man. I hate bashes, so it's whatever.
Yeah.
I like I say, I'm boomer reactions, man. So yeah, when I see a BP, when I see an optimal BP on the other side, like when I'm fighting someone like so Dudlord or Danko or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, this isn't going to be enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. I think it's easier, or at least maybe this is just my perception, but I feel like it's easier to do well with bash-based offense than attack-based offense. So, like, I feel like I'm going to do better as a BP or a Warden in duels than if I were to go with Berserker. I think that's a little different now because Berserkers actually can be quite scary. The unblockable mix-up is actually pretty good. The lights are difficult to deal with, but again, it's easier to defend against lights and different attacks than it is a bash. And I've always felt that I have a worse time against a good BP or a middle of the road BP than an attack base like an Orochi or a Berserker.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's still the case in CCU. Bashes are still pretty scary, even if they deal reduced damage with the lights and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, if I get killed by like an Orochi, for example, I mean that's on me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas if I get destroyed by a PP, it's like, thanks for the shit genetics, mum, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Mishka Mushka is asking how Highlander feels this season.
Mishka plays Highlander. You know how he feels now. To me personally, I feel like he fits in, just fine. The same matchups he sucked against, he still sucks against. The same matchups he did well in, he does well in. The only two gripes I have with Highlander this season is, like I said earlier, I feel like he's lost his character. I don't really feel as satisfied when I land, big hits or like big punishes because it just doesn't, it doesn't feel like I did much. And then two, uh, he struggles against people with high HP who deal just as much damage as he does. So hard now. Like JJ was, a doable matchup, but now it's almost unbearable just because you're gonna hit back and forth, but since you're not doing massive damage anymore,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna die before he does pretty much. So he feels great. I like it. I like the changes. I have some minor gripes here and there, but overall, good. I wish he had a little bit of his character back. I don't like being out damaged by Berserker. That's weird. Or Zanhu. Why is Zanhu doing more damage than me? It's
Yeah,
weird.
it's true. It's like you've got a big, massive fucking sword. Why are you not doing more damage than the guy with a little axe? You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm getting out traded. I'm getting out damaged. It's weird, but I understand that I got my light attacks. I have a defensive form now, so I get it, but just less satisfying. He feels good, but less satisfying.
Yeah, kick grab should go. Don't like it. Don't at me. Yeah, I mean Highlander's tricky now because like whenever I'd fight against a Highlander and they do the backstep light, I would just punish them instantly for that. But now I can't because I'm eating the fucking second
it.
light. Nah,
Yeah,
it's weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely don't like kick grab.
I think
Mully was only because Mully was getting me with it the other day, and he was getting me with every fucking time. I was like, "Fuck's sake, this fucking shit is pissing me off."
I think it goes to the replayability of the game if you really feel like the damage you're getting matches your character, which is what I don't think. I think I should be getting pretty decent damage for an unblockable for Berserker. Guys coming down pretty hard with 2 axes. I feel like that should be damaging. If I'm getting hit by a heavy attack by the Lawbringer, I feel like I should be taking quite a bit of damage. Same with Highlander. And this kind of goes back to Mully's point earlier in the podcast, where it feels like everybody is doing the same amount of damage. It just doesn't make sense from not even from like a competitive or gameplay basis, just from a thematic perspective. Sometimes getting hit with a with a Highlander heavy and it doing less than 30 damage kind of feels thematically off. I feel like if I'm getting hit with a claymore, I probably should just be dead in one hit anyway. We're not all about realism in this game. We have a teleporting monk, like we get it. But I don't know. I feel like in a lot of these different fighting games, like when you get a shield break in Smash, it feels great.
Oh yeah.
Like you hit as Ganondorf, you're slow as heck, but if you hit somebody, you're taking 20% of their, you're doing 20% damage because that feels proportionate to what the character looks like, how the character plays. Yeah. Let's see. How's Highlander feel? Is it possible to see a deathmatch or maybe a duel tournament in the future? Hopefully duel tournaments. I would love to see deathmatch tournaments, but for the most part, I think deathmatch tournaments are probably not going to happen. If you want to see what a deathmatch tournament would look like, watch a team fight in fours, because that's pretty much what it's going to be. You're not necessarily fighting over an objective. I loved death matches because I liked the team fighting aspect of this game, but I don't really think we're going to see a deathmatch tournament unless it's a meme tournament. Like there are 3v3, there's been 3v3 tournament deathmatch tournaments before, which are fun to watch because they make weird rule sets that make it fun. Like you have lethal damage or something like that. So if you kunai somebody as a Rochi, you kill them or something like that. Like something like that would be fun to watch, but wouldn't necessarily probably be a competitive mode. Same with Tribute. As duelists, do you still want to see ranked duels become a real thing?
Wait, what?
I guess you probably would have to tell me what you mean by ranked duels becoming a real thing. Do you mean like coming out of beta? Making them mean something more? I'm not sure. We did kind of talk about, if you're talking about you're wanting ranked duels to actually mean something, we kind of talked about that a little bit. But I don't think that's necessarily a problem with ranked duels. I think it's just a problem with duels in general where, they're a little bit better, but they're still not. It's a little too early to tell if duels are actually a good predictor of skill or that they mean something. They have weight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've said it all along as well. Like Rocket League, for example, when you reach Grandmaster, you get like a title under your name, like season 14 Grandmaster or whatever, Grand Champion, should I say? It would be nice to get some kind of recognition or rewards for like finishing top 50 Grandmaster or something, for example.
Beyond just like an emote or an effect or something.
Yeah, just something that's unique that's actually worth grinding ranked for.
Yeah. Rewards have always been one of the bigger problems with ranked.
Yeah.
I feel like even if they just shouted out like the top 10 on Warriors Den at the beginning of the season, that would be something. But it's literally just like nothing.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. Getting there doesn't matter. Yeah.
True. But to be fair, like there's quite a few botters in there, like in those.
Absolutely.
So they would have to fucking get rid of those first.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Floors.
Yeah. I don't know, it's kind of weird to me that people would bot in this game because it's not like Call of Duty, right? Where if you bot, you might win a tournament, get some winnings, and then peace out before they find out, something like that. But in For Honor, like
it's like you don't get anything for it.
You actually get nothing. Like, what's the ROI there? Return on investment. Sorry, just in case anybody doesn't know what ROI is. It's just always been weird to me. Like I remember seeing the video Havok put out of the BP that had a flip macro or something, or a flip bot.
Yeah, and a Lawbringer as well that was like dodging pretty much level 1 and level 3 Warden shoulder bashes.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept hitting him with a level 2 bash because of obviously his bot. So
right. Yeah.
But I fought quite a few botters. Yeah.
This was how long ago? 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, Legion was streaming some matchmaking duels, and he ran into a Conqueror that had a parry bot and a dodge bot that he would switch between, and because then there would be times where Legion couldn't throw any kind of attack and get a guard break or anything because of the parry bot, or if he actually did throw an attack, it would always get parried until a certain point where then the person would then switch to another bot or to another hotkey that would make him dodge every bash that he threw as BP. It was crazy, and Legion still, he didn't beat him, and the person with the bot did win more. But it was actually interesting to see Legion try and combat that and still be able to win. Like that. Yeah. That's the first time I'd ever seen a player switch between the two, at the same time. Which is interesting because all that meant was that Legion was making a read which one is he on right now? Is he on the dodge or is he on the parry? Let's find out. It's crazy. Okay, we'll do a couple more here. Started playing this game about 1.5 years ago, but I know that there was a ranked Dominion. Should that be a thing again, or was that a flop? I mean, I'd like to see it, but I think it was a flop. I think it'd be a great way to introduce people into what competitive force could look like, but then again, I think you'd just be better off joining For Honor trials and getting scrims.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to have playing against consistently better players, and if imagine going into ranked duels as a duo, and then you go against like a 4-stack or something like that. It's like
plus in trials you get like advice and stuff as well,
Yeah, right. And again, to Havok's point earlier, there's just the rewards. Why would you play it unless rewards, you get good rewards, because you're not going to play ranked Dominion if you want to practice to get better as a team. You'd be playing scrims against other teams. So
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, they need to bring in some incentive to play ranked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Let's see. Do y'all think training mode for beginners is good, or does it need to be refined? Because I feel as though most of the complaints stem from the game not properly teaching the player base how to fight.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I said before.
Yeah.
It's when you first come into the game, it just doesn't feel like the in-game tutorials really show you how to do things properly. Yeah. You have to rely on YouTube for that. They should just direct you straight to Freeze's channel.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right.
Yeah. I think what they have for training mode is decent. I like that you can actually go in there and lab stuff. But the problem is there's mechanically, For Honor is not a demanding game. You do not need like insane mechanical, like Super Smash Brothers melee levels mechanical skill to play and do well in For Honor. So there's not a lot to lab. It's nice, but even if you're trying to practice against dodging a bash, for example, it's actually still not better to train in training mode than it is to play against somebody else because of latency. And bots also sometimes will parry things they shouldn't be able to. We've seen that before too. So, for some things, what was that?
I said, don't get me started.
Oh yeah, training mode is good for some things, but I think overall it is lacking, and it's just better to find somebody that is willing to play with you, test stuff. Have them do something you need practice against. It's going to be better, and because it's more practical, because you're going to be fighting against people who have certain latency. And even if they don't necessarily have high latency, it's still going to affect dodge timings. So, yeah. Will you do more podcasts in the future? Norgod's already answered this, but yes. I think I'll just do this, and it should have the YouTube link. All my other Honor-bound episodes are on there. I also have a command for Havok and Mully as well. These are where you can find all of their content for YouTube, Twitch, social media, everything like that is all there. Please do follow these guys. They're already well known. I'm sure you guys know them, but just in case you don't, give them a follow. Subscribe to the YouTube.
And hit the notification bell.
Yeah, notification bell. So you can tell I'm not a YouTuber, right? I don't even say the notification bell. Okay, so that looks like that's everything. All right, so I did shout out your guys' channel. Was there anything else you guys wanted to shout out before we ended today?
Shout out to Kenzo for getting good sleep, man.
Oh yeah. I have a command for him. I'll put all of his stuff in there too.
I'm happy he got sleep. I went to sleep like 3 hours before I woke up because I thought the podcast started at 10 my time and it started at 12.
Oh, shit.
And I'm pretty sure I'm older than he is, okay? If I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't give Kenzo too much grief. Next time he streams, I'll give him a tiny bit of grief, but not all that much.
Yeah. You never know the circumstance. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, Havok, was there anything you wanted to shout out, or are you good to go as well?
Shout out to Donuts, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna go and eat me. Oh, yeah.
Donuts and Kenzo gets the shout outs today. Seems good. All right, guys. Well, if you are watching this on YouTube, I appreciate you guys watching through almost 2 hours of the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. I will remember this time. We reached a little bit over 100 subs, so I finally have a what is it called, a custom URL. So I appreciate all that support. But if you want to keep seeing more content like this, just leave a comment below. Like the video, subscribe, all that jazz. We love your feedback. If you have topics that you guys want to hear, if you have guests that you want me to consider, for the next episode, I am happy to read those and take them into consideration and everything. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.